Hello again, everyone. This is Joe Henches with Beyond the Chart, and this is technical analysis of the stock market today. Today is Wednesday, May 6th, and we're going to take a look at the market action of the last 2 days and our indicators, and then we're going to look at some of the international indices, which we haven't looked at in a while. We'll look at the German DAX, Russia, India, China, and then 3 Chinese stocks, BIDU, Alibaba, and VIP Shop. And then one I haven't looked at before, XPO Logistics. Okay, so let's start off here with the Dow. The Dow was down 86 points, but at one point today, it was down well over 100 points lower. But it didn't close below this line in here. And I talked about, actually in the video last time, I mentioned that this little head and shoulders pattern type thing, you know, the shoulder, head, shoulder, was showing up on the New York Composite. Well, actually it's showing up on almost all the indices. And I did mention that in the post itself. Okay, but we didn't get a close down below here, so we'll see. You know, it still looks pretty congested. It just looks like a lot of just congested type trading going on. It's not really breaking out one way or the other yet. And so we'll look at the indicators here in a minute. The S&P 500 a little bit more negative, down 9.3 today. The NASDAQ, this is actually a little more negative than those previous two. Actually, we got a close here below this low, I believe, 49.21. So yeah, 49.19 was the close today. So we go from, you know, talking about all-time highs and, you know, on and on. We get this little doji up here, and I talked about that, you know, and how it has a tendency to appear above. And so, you know, and here we are down. Now, granted, this is just a very, very short-term little move. We'll see whether we have any follow-through. New York Composite, here's what we were talking about before. It looks like it's starting to break down. Now, we got a couple closes below the 10. The 10's breaking below the 21 for the first time in a while. And the same thing, I think, it's starting to on the S&P. The NASDAQ, it's doing it. So we're getting a little bit of rollover action. We'll see. Short-term trading index is now pulling back up on this 10-day moving average that I had. The lowest reading was 0.87 here on the 4th, which was Monday. So we'll see. You know, this looks like a little bit of a at least short-term top reading. The VIX had a pretty good move today. And we did get the moving averages crossing here. This is, you know, looking like it's trying to punch higher. And, you know, again, you know, we had divergence. Let me go back. See this divergence that was setting up right in here. A little bit of a prelude, and we're starting to get the move. Now, you know, are we going to get a move like this or a move like this? Who knows? But right now, it's at least showing movement like it's starting or trying to start. High-low index continues to break down. 59 more new lows than new highs for the day. And so this is the lowest reading since back in early to mid-March. So almost 2 months. And we'll see whether or not we break through this or not. And it just doesn't take much to start rolling over. You just don't know if you're going to take it out. I mean, here's the November-December move. Here's the September-October move. You know, when you start to break down through, we did it back in here. It just didn't go anywhere. So, you know, it's flagging. It's at least flagging an alert in my mind. All right, let's take a look at the German DAX and take a look at some of these international indices. The DAX is rolling over. Okay, so now it's trading below the 55. You get the moving average cross. It looks, you know, it could be just a short-term correction. You look back like this. This could be, you know, like a wave 1 here, a wave 2, strong wave 3. It sure acted like it. We could be doing nothing more than a 4 and then get another wave 5 going here. I mean, that is a possibility. Now, I haven't sat and analyzed the German DAX to any great degree. You could also make the case that here we have, you know, like a 1, 2, strong 3, 4, and this was 5. So at least for the short term, right now, it's rolling over, it's trading down. We'll see whether or not, let's look at the little bit of divergence on the DI minus. RSI, well, you got the negative reading on the RSI, which led to the rollover. We haven't gotten to an extreme reading on the, and this is the 10. Yeah, we haven't gotten to an extreme reading yet on the, or an oversold reading on the RSI to the downside. All right, take a look at Russia. It's interesting, I think, isn't it, that the whole Ukraine thing seems, it's not in the headlines. At least I'm not seeing it. It's like everything else, and I don't know what's going on there right now. I haven't paid any attention to it, but Russia's kind of the Russia index has continued to push higher here, but it looks kind of counter trendish to me. And so I get the old trend line going, and you pull that up there, and you look at it from that perspective. You can also look at it from going from the deepest point and pulling this up like this. So we'll see whether or not, because right now it's pulling back up into the where it had some support came in before, and here was resistance. So now it's getting into that point where it could be running into that and the 233-day moving average. So we'll see what's, I don't know, it'll be interesting to see if something starts to come back in the headlines on the Ukraine whole thing with Russia. Okay, and the next one is India. Now, India is chopping around. It's broken this long trend line from, August 2013. And, I think we're doing some sort of fourth intermediate wave in here. But I need to spend time. I'll be honest, I have not spent time on this India Nifty 50 index to thoroughly go back and double check what I think is the wave count. This looks and makes sense to me. Just because of the way this is, overlapping in here and this strong third wave move here. So I'm thinking that we're doing some kind of fourth intermediate wave corrective action. And the fact that we've broken this trend line clearly is telling us we're in corrective mode. And then let's take a look at the Shanghai Composite. And the Shanghai Composite is correcting like everybody's been talking about. That's been in the news. China's been in the news lately because of this big move here, and now it's correcting. So we get a couple of days below the 10. We had a couple very tiny days below the 10 here. This is a little more dramatic. It's kind of like, back in here when it did this corrective, zigzag action. Actually, that made me more of a flat. Yes, it's more of a flat, kind of a three-wave A, B, C, kind of a flat correction. So now we're getting a little bit of a sharp zigzag. So this makes sense to me. This looks to me like a wave 3. I'm not quite sure where the fourth wave is in here. It may be some kind of running flat. And I think this is going to be a fourth intermediate zigzag move. So we're getting the first push down. We could get some little, rally and then another push down. We'll see how it plays out. All right, so this is, that's the Shanghai Composite. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at Alibaba. Okay, Alibaba's earnings come out tomorrow. I think after the market closes. I'm not really sure. This looks like it's in a downward channel to me. Clearly, I took this trend line, made another parallel in here. This congestive action in here, overlapping corrective waves. I mean, there's just no doubt when you get that kind of wave action, it's corrective. And now it continues to push to the downside. I'm not seeing any bullish divergence at this point, so I've just got to go with the fact that it's still in the downtrend. Now maybe we get a pop on the earnings or something, or maybe the trend, the trend is still in place. So you got to say that, that's the direction of the highest probability. And let's see, then the next one is BIDU. BIDU's breaking down also, and again, you've got the same kind of overlapping waves. And I talked about this. I've been talking about this for a couple months now on BIDU, and that's why I really had a hard time getting bullish on it. I do think we've seen 5 major primary waves up on this. We've broken the trend lines. We're now breaking down. We got the 55 below the 233. So the long-term trend is to the downside. The intermediate is kind of rolling over. Short term is definitely down. It's kind of going through the floor here, and it's broken below this potential support that was brought in back here on October 15th when the stock market had that big sell-off. And so we're now below that. So we'll see where the next support starts to come in, and it may stair-step its way down. The next one is VIPs. Now, I've been looking for VIP Shop to correct and pull and roll over for a while now, for several weeks. It's just taken a while. A lot of very, very strong bullish action, strong momentum in VIP Shop. But this does look like some kind of ending diagonal to me. You know, a rising wedge, ending diagonal, both the same thing in my vernacular. And so now it's breaking out of this. It's rolling over. Now it's trading below the 55. So we'll see whether or not a traditional breakdown out of a rising wedge like this is usually fairly quick action to the bottom of the wedge. So we'll see whether or not we get that. And it's interesting that near the bottom of the wedge is right near the 233-day moving average. But right now, VIP Shop looks like it's correcting and rolling over. The last one we're going to take a look at tonight is XPO Logistics. XPO has been in a very, very strong move here, just continually stair-stepping its way higher. You know, it punches higher, pulls back, punches higher, pulls back. And here I just took a look at, you know, these recent highs right here and here formed kind of a support zone, and that's exactly where support came in, right in here on the last corrective action in April. Now you get this big punch up here that it did, and it looks like it's consolidating to me. You know, so this looks like, you know, a potential, you know, we'll see what happens, but it's a potential little pennant. And if that is the case and that's what it's doing, then the next move should be up like that and equal to this. So when I look at this and I say, well, okay, see how I say similar to November 2012? I was curious to see if there was any other price action that looked like this on a candle. And so if we go back to November 2012, okay, here's a similar type of doji, kind of similar, and a big move. Now this didn't consolidate, kind of more of a pullback, a little more of a flag type action, but did not get dramatic fall through. It just kind of, you know, meandered and pushed its way up a little bit. So we'll see. Because this was actually, here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This was actually the fifth move too in this sequence. And so then it consolidated and continued to push higher. So we'll see whether or not this little bit of a straight line looks like consolidation in here to me. And you just have to watch to see, does this continue to hold as support, you know, along the top here, this previous high. All right, that's it for tonight. It looks interesting here on XPO Logistics. We'll be, today's Wednesday. We'll be back on Saturday with the weekend market update, and we'll go from there. All right, this has been Joe for Beyond the Chart. Again, if you're watching this anywhere else besides my website at joehenches.net, of course, you can get to it at beyondthechart.com. Also, it gets redirected to joehenches.net. Okay, so if you're watching it, head over to my website and check it out and look at the posts and that type of thing. And Trade Ideas webpage gives you access. If you're a subscriber, you get access, first name and email. It's easy to do. So until next time, stay focused, follow your plan, trade without fear. Have a great Thursday, Friday, everyone.